My next patron question is from Trevon, who is curious about the lasting legacy of an actor who played a famous superhero. While I personally think Henry Cavill did a great job as Superman, there were many who firmly believe that Cavill was the best and only actor to play Superman, completely discrediting the likes of Christopher Reeve, Dean Cain, Tom Welling, and Brandon Routh, all of whom played Superman before Cavill. Do you think Cavill's performance has been overrated, or is it just simply disappointment that Cavill will no longer play Superman? I guess I should start by stating my own opinion on Henry Cavill's interpretation, and I thought it was pretty good. Zack Snyder's approach to the character was to portray him as someone struggling with trying to save the world and do good things, as he constantly deals with people and media being distrustful of him. I thought Cavill was able to show that through his portrayal. He's become known as the dark and gritty and angry Superman, but I think that's a bit of a simplification. Man of Steel showed a Clark Kent still trying to figure out the whole superhero thing. He's depicted as a bit inexperienced at times, while also balancing his two identities. He's trying to help while keeping his incredible powers a secret. After his fight with Zod and landing a job at the Daily Planet, we see him feel a bit more assured, although that insecurity in finding himself does not entirely go away. Batman vs. Superman then showed him dealing with the onslaught of protests and media attention and scrutiny from civilians, the government, and others. The film was partly slammed for Superman being kind of down through most of the movie, but can you blame the poor guy? He's trying to help people and he's constantly yelled at by others. He even has Batman constantly threatening to fight him. I think Henry Cavill was able to show the different moods and emotions he's feeling while all this is happening. I think with what the role required of him, he did well, and contrary to belief, there are moments in his movies that display his warmth, humor, and belief in humankind. The scenes he shares with Amy Adams as Lois Lane do a nice job of showing their romance too. Many of these comic book superheroes have been interpreted by different writers, artists, filmmakers, and television show creators, and as a result, you'll see so many takes on them. So I'm not that bothered when someone else puts their own spin on them. Was the character in the Snyder movies a baby who's put into a little spaceship and arrives on Earth, is adopted by the Kents and given the name Clark, gains superpowers from Earth's yellow sun, puts on a suit with the letter S and tries to save the day? Then what you saw in those movies was Superman. Now, fans of Zack Snyder's DC movies tend to be a passionate lot, often going up to bat for the movies he directed in that cinematic universe and the actors he has cast. Hence why you'll often see declarations that Cavill is the best Superman, and people are absolutely free to say that. Everyone will have their own personal preference for the character and who they feel gave the best performance. Christopher Reeve is my personal favorite screen version of Superman and Clark Kent, but I also like what Brandon Routh, Tim Daly, Tyler Hoechlin, and yes, Henry Cavill have brought to the character. I remember watching the Lois and Clark back in the day and liking Dean Cain's portrayal, but it's been a really long time since I've watched that show. Will you have fans who declare Cavill's the only true screen Superman? Sure, but that's probably the case for any character with a significant fanbase who decides only one actor has accurately portrayed them to their liking. That does not necessarily reflect the majority. There are probably plenty of Cavill fans who grew up watching and loving Richard Donner's Superman movie, or the 50s television show, or the 90s animated series. When Henry Cavill showed up in a credit scene in Black Adam, there was understandably quite a bit of excitement from fans. Outside the Snyder cut of Justice League, it had been a while since he'd shown up in the DC movies, and I did see demand for Man of Steel sequel from those fans, only for it to be quickly announced he would not be reprising the role in the new James Gunn-led universe. Some have been understanding about this, while others are upset at Gunn for relaunching the DC movie universe, bearing a few things that will carry over. And I get it. There was such a big deal about his appearance in Black Adam, although part of that also came from Dwayne Johnson flexing his muscles and wanting to make a movie with both of them going up against each other. It's understandable why many felt the rug was pulled out from under them. The new Superman will reportedly be younger, although not by much, as David Cornsweet is only 10 years younger than Cavill. However, I do think he should be given a chance, and like other screen Supermans, I'm sure there'll be those who appreciate his interpretation. The last few years of the DC universe were seriously affected by corporate changes at Warner Brothers, and I'm sure in an alternate timeline, Cavill would continue to play the role. But I think he had a solid run, and when people look back at the different actors who have played the Man of Steel, there will be many who will think fondly of him. Thank you for your question, Trevon.